Welcome to our SCORE district-wide webinar. My name is Jane Meyer, and I'm a chapter chair with SCORE in the Central Jersey chapter. I think most of you are familiar with SCORE, but if you're not, SCORE is a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. Our entire goal, all our lives, are dedicated to helping small businesses get started, grow, and prosper. And we do this all across the U.S. We have well over 250 chapters. So wherever you are, there's probably a chapter close to you with well over, I think it's about 13,000 mentors across the U.S. right now. So wherever you are, you should be able to find a SCORE chapter, definitely able to find a SCORE mentor. The three things that we do as SCORE, and we're an organization totally of volunteers, so we don't charge for our time. The three things that we do are offer webinars and seminars like you're attending today. Most of those are for free. Some chapters charge a nominal amount for those. Those webinars and seminars are on any kind of business topic you might think of. Wide variety of topics. So look for those on our SCORE website, score.org. Or we offer resources on that website are probably any topic you can think of for small businesses. We have some kind of resource for it. A webinar, an article, a booklet, a pamphlet, a blog. Thousands of resources on the website. So go there, and those are all for free. And then I think the most important thing we do is mentoring. We offer one-on-one, one-on-two mentoring to small businesses. Again, by going to our website, score.org, you can put in your zip code and find a mentor near you. Doesn't have to be near you. So you can search by location, you can search by the topic that you're interested in, and find a mentor to work directly with you on whatever topic it is you're working on. If you're just thinking about starting a business and want to just bounce ideas off of someone, if you've already started a business and are looking to how to best set it up and get your operations going, or if you're in business and need help in a particular area like marketing or finance or operations, you can find a mentor to help you with that. So we would love to see you. Come to us and find a mentor. Today's webinar is hosted by all of the New Jersey chapters across the state, Northeast, Northwest, Metro, Central Jersey, Princeton, Monmouth, and Ocean County. So we thank all of those chapters for participating in helping us get the word out. And thanks to Suzanne Stingo, our district-wide communications director, for helping us organize and put this all together. You're in for a treat today because I've heard Bill Carlson. He has spoken several times to chapters that I've been involved with. He gives an excellent presentation about the database and other resources that are available through Reference Solutions. I'll let him explain what that is, but it's a wonderful, wonderful tool for small businesses. So welcome to Bill. He offers a lot of his time to SCORE and to SCORE clients. So Bill, we thank you for being with us. We're looking very forward to learning all about Reference Solutions and how it can help small businesses.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you, Suzanne. I'm also I have used SCORE's services in the past when I owned my own business. So I do know the value of what SCORE brings to the proverbial table as it relates to all of that information that you can acquire from them at little to no charge. So I think that's great. And I know in this case, you're seeing or looking at the Reference Solutions database as it's offered through the New Jersey State Library. And you can access our database, Reference Solutions, with a library card anywhere in the state of New Jersey. So if you belong to, I know that Jane mentioned Somerset County Library System. If you have a Somerset card, you can access the database through their listings of databases that they make available, of which there are many. You can also go to jerseyclicks.org and find the reference solutions database by scrolling down through their list of alphabetical databases that they make available. That's how I happen to get access this morning. I'm still ahead of lunchtime a little bit. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, so we're an hour behind you. We make all of these various modules, there are 10 of them available. Well, why would you want to perhaps utilize this information? We know that a lot of businesses do business with other businesses, right? So we make our US business database available through libraries across the United States, but we're obviously focused on New Jersey at this point. We make this information available to you as that library card user, that you have access to that information that we're updating annually. So we have 16 million plus businesses that are currently updated, and we make that available in this universe. We're pushing out those updates that we do every week, Thursday into Friday morning. We're pushing out those updates. So know that it's dynamic, know that it's changing. We'll always give you the latest and greatest. The US historical business information. Well, why would I want historical information? Perhaps you're considering opening a business at a certain location. You could go into the US historical database, input that address along with that city and state, and then you could do a radius, maybe a block or two around that particular location, and you could see if there has been stability with businesses in that area, or have businesses been coming and going a lot in that area. Maybe that's not a fabulous location for your business. That would be one tool that you could use to help learn about that. We do have, and we're updating this, by the way, every year. So in January, once that New Year's celebration is over, we begin working on making those business records from 2021 and putting them in that US historical businesses database. Our Canadian business information, in case you do any work up in Canada, this information is being updated monthly. Our new business filings, we're getting this through the Secretary of State's office. We're updating this weekly. Most of the information in the US new business database filings, it's not nearly as robust as what you'll find with our verified records. But you may want to use this information to take a look at the types of businesses that are opening up in a given area, or that are considering, because we do find when we do our verification phone calls, we do find some of these new business filings that have not opened yet. So of course we won't give them a complete record up here, but you might want to look at that area to see if there's new competition coming in. Our healthcare is updated monthly, as is our standard white pages. For those of you who remember, or maybe even still use phone books today, that's in essence what this is. We do include, because we work with the US Census Bureau and we get neighborhood information, we do include estimated household income and home value in this particular module. We're updating this information monthly. Our US our US consumers' lifestyles, that information is also being updated monthly. We're getting that from a variety of different resources. And if your business requires that you work with consumers, this could be a great tool, because we'll give you some demographic information about those consumers in that area that may fit your business model. Let's imagine for a moment that you're opening a fitness gym. You could go into the consumer lifestyles and identify those consumers who are into health, fitness, and diet. And I'll show you what that looks like. So if you need to work with consumers, this could be a tremendous tool. We're getting this information from surveys people have completed, magazine subscriptions people are having sent to their home. Perhaps it's coming in from information in regards to credit card purchases. We get that information through that from those processors of that information. Could be information from memberships people have joined. I was not in this database when I first moved back into Omaha, but I started buying my dog's food at Petco. Eventually, I signed up for a Petco Pals card, and I ended up in the consumer lifestyles as a dog lover. So we're updating that monthly. Our Canadian information is also monthly. And then we also have our new movers, new homeowners. We know, especially during the pandemic, there's been a lot of movement of people. Maybe to some degree, it's even surprised some communities with how much movements occurred. So with that, we're capturing this information through our license agreement with the United States Postal Service's national change of address, and we're updating that weekly. So if you need to know about new people to your community, maybe not those people who've moved across town, but perhaps those who have moved from further out, you can do that in the U.S. New Movers, New Homeowners, and then get that information. In fact, you can identify homeowners versus renters if you'd like. So lots of different ways to filter out information here. I do like to point out we have an app. There are only 2 modules in the app at this point. That's the U.S. Business and the U.S. Consumer Lifestyles. You can certainly take advantage of that. And we also give you the ability to set up a personal account. We know that not in necessarily every situation does someone need to necessarily download records, but they want to come back to that search that they built and get the latest and greatest information. So once you've registered by going through your library's website, coming into our database here, once you've registered, you can log in and you can save any searches that you may have done through these modules, except for one, and that would be the jobs and internships. With this one, you're able to email yourself results, but you're not able to save them in that personalized account. So know you can take advantage of all those tools. I also like to point out, under the Learning Center, we have some written material, if that would be helpful for you. You know, I'm going to impart a lot of information, but certainly you're going to need perhaps some additional assistance. If that's the case, you can come right down here to this marketing and training material, open that page, and then we have these database overviews, one for all of our business related products. So our healthcare, our US business, our US new business, historical would be found in there, our consumer related modules, one that's all inclusive, and then a breakdown of each of those 10. So certainly if you're in the US business database, and you would like some additional insight on using some of the various tools that are available, you could turn to that. You could also take advantage of our data dictionaries. If you had a question about a certain element that's in a business record, you could always refer to that business data dictionary to find that answer. Not to mention, you can always work with your library or feel free to contact us. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if you contact us after hours or on the weekend, we'll certainly contact you that next business day and help you with whatever it is that you might be working on. So that's why I always encourage folks, certainly take advantage of your libraries. They're well versed on how to use this database. So I'll go back here. And if you would like to, we do offer webinars. So certainly, maybe you have a friend who's in a similar situation and they're opening a business or looking to grow their business. Certainly, you can point them to our webinars. There's no cost for those. It's just part of what we offer to our participating libraries. We do those on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to open up the US Business Database. It'll always bring me to this quick search page. And that's true whenever I go into any of the modules. I'm always going to come here. Just for, if you wanted just one company record, you could type in that company name You don't even need to include the city and state, but I would if it might be a name that could be found in other communities, right? You know, Bill's Garage. There might be more than one Bill's Garage. So you can narrow that down by city and state and then view that result. You could, maybe there was an executive that you knew at a company, but they're no longer there. You'd like to try and find them. You could try that executive first name, last name search. Again, hopefully you can narrow it down to a city and state. You could even do a reverse phone number lookup if you'd like to. I do want to show you one tool, and I'll just use Newark as an example here. So I'll type in Newark and then select it. Then, of course, I've got to get my state. So there's New Jersey. I can add that to my list. And we'll only show you, whenever you're in the quick search universe, we'll only show you our verified records. We do have a couple of other categories that I'll speak about here in a moment. So I'm going to view my results. So in Newark, I have 10,800 plus businesses. The tool I want to show you is this charts tool. I'll select the chart. What it will do is it will break the businesses down by the SIC code that they're under, at least initially. So that's the standard industrial classification code. We also have the NAICS codes embedded in here. The NAICS have technically, as far as Uncle Sam is mentioned here, they have retired these SIC codes. We've kept them alive because we've made them much more granular than they were ever under the use by the federal government. So we give you both of those codes. Here's my top 7. So it always gives you this top 7 perspective of those businesses by type. In this case, physicians and surgeons is in this top position because they're all 1099 guys and gals, right? They are their own business, even though they may be in an office with several other docs. So I have that listing followed by restaurants, churches. You get the idea. We don't stop at just the top 7 though. That's that top 7 made up of this 3,300 records. We give you a full report down here. Notice it's 62 pages in length. It breaks it down, in this case, by the primary SIC code that they're under, that description for that business, and then how many records apply. For a moment's sake, let's imagine that you're opening a beauty salon. These would be all of your competitors. If you were in the Newark area, right? That's the area that I had selected. So if you wanted to see this group of competitors, you could click on that 191 and it will take you right to that audience. And then you get that information. So know, even when you're charting, you can get to physical records if you need to. Notice that is always available. And I can change this up. Maybe I want to look at these businesses based on the number of employees that they have. I could always do that. So no surprise here, 61.5% nearly of the businesses across Newark employ 1 to 4 employees. We know that small businesses drive this economic engine that we have. So there they are. And I could get to this group of 6,082 records if I wanted to. And then I could break that again down by the chart and see those that are just salons that employ 1 to 4, right? So you can do a lot of unique stuff even in this charts universe. And I do know, I've had a lot of lenders who've attended my programs. I know they love to see this sales volume information. We're looking at the entire community, and you're probably not going to sell to every business in a community. However, we could be looking at specific types of businesses here, and you could show that lender what you have for opportunities as it relates to those businesses that you're going to be attempting to sell something or a service or product to. Again, all of this can be printed off or made part of a PowerPoint presentation. Just depends on what you need to do or need to show. I know lenders love that kind of insight. So let's do this. I'm going to revise my search. We got here by simply putting in Newark and then the state. Advanced search is going to allow you additional filters, as it notes down here, that you can use to drill or to obtain those types of businesses that are most important to you. And before we go too far into this, I do want to point out, notice it defaults to this verified universe. That's what this 16 million plus is about. We also have our unverified records. So the way that a business may end up in here, a couple of ways. Could have been a new business filing that we never got a hold of. We overlaid that information, put it in here. We'll continue trying to reach them, just not as vigorously as what we do with our verified records, right? So you may find some valid businesses that are in the unverified that we simply weren't fortunate enough to reach. So I would not necessarily throw this out with a baby's bathwater. Maybe search this universe separately, right? And see if there are any opportunities that you might be able to eyeball in there. And then, of course, we've got our closed businesses. So know that you can always alter or include. Maybe you want to look at both of these at one time. We will always give you this designation so that you know if you have a verified or an unverified record. You can do it either any way that makes sense to you, right? It makes it easiest for you. Company name. We saw that under quick search where you could look for one company. If I wanted, and I want multiple companies by name, I could just select that. So maybe IBM is one of those companies I wanted to see. Maybe Delta is another one of those companies that I wanted to see. I always want to see this company whenever I'm traveling for work. So you can add as many companies by name. Now the kicker here is make sure that you have that name spelled correctly. I helped a patron the other day who could have sworn that this business was called X. She thought it was called Baltimore Licks, Licks. It was actually, after we found it, called Bmore Licks. So not Baltimore, Bmore. So it's imperative that you have that correct spelling. We found hers by simply doing a keyword search for ice cream parlors in the city of Baltimore. So company name will always give you this, but you could use this if you needed to see a unique list. Same thing is true with this executive information. Maybe you need to see or want to see only those businesses by type or not by type, maybe just in an area with an owner present. You could do that. You could make that your driver. Forego all those others with a manager or a CEO. You only want owners. Certainly you can use that. Otherwise, we'll always give you that information. Keyword search is certainly the easiest way to do that. As I mentioned with ice cream parlors, every business you can search for by a keyword, right? Most people don't know the SIC or NAICS codes. Don't worry about that. Just do your keyword. If you're looking for dry cleaners, and you can see I've done this before, you could just find dry cleaners. Maybe you're looking for certain types of manufacturers. You could go out and look for those manufacturers. All depends on what you need. I'm going to remove that for a second. I do want to show you this major industry group, which, by the way, is just the SIC codes. It's kind of a nice stair-step approach to getting to the information that might be most important to you. So here are the SIC codes that Uncle Sam used. They always started off with this 2-digit number. So there's 3 2-digit numbers under construction. If you want to see what that definition is for each of those, click on that plus symbol and it'll open that up. If general contractors was what you needed, you can click on that plus symbol and see how specific that would become. And this was as specific as it would get when Uncle Sam was using these SIC codes. We added 2 additional codes to make it this much more granular. So know you can kind of use this stair-step approach to maybe getting to the types of businesses that are most important to you. I helped my niece, who happens to live in Dallas, who had some water damage last February when Dallas was in that 3-day deep freeze. She wanted to find those companies that do water damage restoration for residential properties specifically. She didn't want just any general contractor that might say, well, I can do that kind of work for you. She wanted somebody that would specifically do that kind of work because she intends on selling her home this year. So she wanted it done right. She felt the best bet for her would be to get that person that this is their primary line of business. This is what they know the best. And then it was just a matter of, we selected the Dallas metro area, so she had a few results by which to consider and reach out to. So know that you can use that stair-step approach with the major industry group in order to get to that kind of level of detail. Geography speaks for itself. I will show you this map-based search tool, which, by the way, is available in many of our modules. The only one that it's not available in, actually, there are two, the jobs module and the US healthcare module. Whew, boy, for a second there I froze. Phone speaks for itself. Number of employees. So when we're making that phone call to those businesses, which we do annually, larger companies will call them 4 times a year. We're asking for that number of employees. And about 72% of those businesses will give us an exact number. Those that don't, we look at the SIC code that they're a part of, that they're in, that type of business, look at their peers, and then we'll apply a range. So if you see an exact number in our record, bingo, we got that in our phone call. You see a range, we had to apply that because they did not respond to that question. And as it relates to in sales volume, we never ask a private company how much money they're making. A great way to have a call disconnect real quick. So what we'll do is we model that information. We use several factors, like the line of business that they're in, how long they've been in business, type of business or types of business that they may be in. We get some information through the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And then part of that algorithm also includes where they're in business at, because there's going to be variables, everything from payroll to taxes to expenses, heat and air and lights. So we take into account all of that and then produce that modeled sales number. If it's a publicly traded company, of course, we'll get that from their 10K report. We do have home-based businesses. If you needed to look at those or the types of home-based businesses that are in an area, you could certainly do that. Financial data kind of speaks for itself. We'll always give you that. Special selects. We do have web addresses, social links. Maybe you need to know how long that business has been around. I would not do year established for that. I would use years in the database and then be able to identify those businesses based on maybe you need to know about businesses that have opened within the last 3 years. Or conversely, maybe you need to know about businesses who've withstood the test of time for a while. Maybe 12 years is your high watermark and everything older. You could do that as well. We'll always give you that information where we have that. Professionals, all are one. We saw that in the Newark area, the top 7 SIC codes at the very top of that were physicians and surgeons. If you need to make a mailing and you don't necessarily want to reach every physician in office, but rather just one primary, you could default this from all to one. You'll produce fewer records, right? And that would apply to doctors, dentists, CPAs, attorneys. So you would produce fewer records. It's going to cost you less than to do that mailing. We know that a lot of people will use our database to be able to send out mail pieces to invite some type of activity, right? Exclusions. We give you lots of ways to exclude information. I know personally that a lot of times businesses may not want to see ATM machines. We do have records for ATMs. We have records for red box kiosks. So if you did not want those types of results, you simply, better spell it correctly. You simply look up ATMs. There's my automated teller machines and that SIC code that supports that. I can click on that, add that to the selected field, and as long as I've left that in play, I'll never get those automated teller machines. So know that you can use any one or all of, if you wanted to, these exclusions, including previously saved searches. So let's do a simple search. I'm going to do a keyword search, and I like to use restaurants, not because it's the lunch hour and I'm getting hungry, but because there are generally always enough of those to go around that I'll be able to show you some of the other tools available. I'm searching all SIC codes. There's a hint in there for you. I'll search for that. The system goes out and identifies, here's that SIC code for all restaurants, fine dining and fast food. Notice, now when Uncle Sam was managing this, and it was only this 4-digit, 5812, we added the 08 to it. We actually got more granular than that. So notice, if you needed certain types of restaurants, steakhouses, French, American, notice through the number 9, we make that, and then we switch it to alpha in order to continue looking at those specific or unique types of restaurants. So you can get that granular if you need to. We also give you the ability to look at various types of chains. So if you need that, notice now it's a 9-digit number. We give you that kind of insight. So I encourage the use of the SIC codes, but if you need to cite the NAICS code for a report of some sort, you could always do that, because we're going to give you both of those codes whenever you're looking at any of our records. So I'm looking at all restaurants at this point in time, and then I just have to select my geography. So let's go with Somerset. We'll do Somerset. So of course, now I have to select the state first. It's a little bit different. There's my state, and then I can just start keying in Somerset, right? And then the system will go out and identify. I click on it, add it over here. Now I could be adding more counties in New Jersey if I wanted to, or I could even change up the state. Maybe I wanted to include a county over in New York. I could do that as well. Just depends on what I might need. And this is all 50 states. So you feel free to, wherever you need to search, you can search. So I have a total of 813 restaurants in Somerset County that fall under the all SIC codes. Watch what happens when I select primary only. Notice how it drops it down now to 640. So it got rid of restaurants that were in, for example, a bowling alley. Their primary line of business is entertainment or bowling, whatever that would fall under. So we got rid of that record because that's a restaurant isn't their primary line of business. I can always view those. And I mentioned before that you can always chart any particular category or categories that you wanted to look at. So since we're just looking at restaurants, notice I did the entire county. So no longer do I see the SIC and NAICS code, because I already told the system what I want to see. It's right there. So it defaults to the city option because I'm looking at the entire county. So it gives me that top 7, and then of course that full report down here, which is a couple of pages in length. So you can always get to information like that. If I wanted to get to these 94 restaurants that are just in Somerset, we could certainly do that. Could switch this up to that employment size. Remember before when we were looking at Newark, that 1 to 4 was the largest audience when we were looking at all businesses. Now that I've told the system I want to look at a certain type of business, 1 to 4 in this case is in second position. 5 to 9 is that largest group at 46.5%. Followed by the 1 to 4, the 20 to 49, etc. So again, all of this can be printed off or made part of a PowerPoint. And again, sales volume. Maybe that's important. I helped a customer down in, I used to cover the state of Florida, and I was working in Orlando and helped a customer who needed this very insight because she wanted to share this with her employer. She was able to sell a product to restaurants, and she wanted her boss to understand. She did two counties, actually, Orange County and Seminole County, and she wanted to be able to show her boss what she was looking at for opportunities when selling to those restaurants. So know that there's lots of different ways. I can even put this information on our heat map. It's a density map. So it will show you, based on Somerset County, that coverage of restaurants. So where it's red in these areas, lots of restaurants there, more yellow, or where it flushes yellow, fewer, green even less, and of course, where there's no color, there are no restaurants there. So right outside of Bridgewater Township here, there aren't any restaurants up there, unless that restaurant's called home. So that might work. So know that you can always see this view or get this view. Maybe you want to be able to report this again as you're working to build that business plan. Maybe you want to be able to report this, and it could be again, we could do multiple counties here. Maybe you want to be able to report that in your business plan model to that lender to help them understand just what you've got. I know lenders love this visualization. So you always have that available to you that you can print off or make part of a PowerPoint. I'll go back to my results. I mentioned that you could also download this information in order to know how many records. You can always get to this 640, but it needs to be in a certain amount based on how the contract was written with this, in this case, the state. So if you scroll to the bottom, it will always say how many downloads you can get per download event. Not per search, but per download event. I don't like that it says per search. So there are 25 records on this first page. We know that there's 26 pages. I can take 100 out at a time. In order to do so, select that box next to company name, advance then to page 2, repeat that step. You get the idea. Once you've reached page 4, there's your 100 records. And then you simply select download. Now you may print this off if you would like. You will get just this information as it's shown here. You can also save your search, but again, to save the search, you have to be registered first. It's not linking to your library card number. It's linking to whatever email address that you're saving your searches under. So you'd want to register first. But if I want to download this information, I don't need to worry about registering anything. I can simply select download. It always brings you to this step 1, which is comma delimited, most popular because it's mailing label friendly. So if I want to just do a mailer to these businesses, bingo, I'm ready to go. If that would include the name of that business, the address, phone number, and then that owner or manager's name, their name and title, how many employees they have, sales volume, all that information would be included in this summary. Let me show you this. You've all seen these Excel documents. There's my summary information. If you intended on taking out, let's say, 500 records, I would open up your own version of Excel because my page here is static. You can't add anything else to my page, but you could copy from my page, drop it onto yours, and then keep adding to your own. So you can do it 100 at a time. Once you've done that copy and paste into your own version of Excel, then I would simply minimize your version, come back here to my page, close it. It'll always leave you on this instructional page. You simply select the word back as it notes up here in the upper right-hand corner, back. Back will always bring you back to the page that you were on. Now your job becomes getting rid of these check marks because you want to get another group of 100 records. You don't want to keep producing the same list. Easiest way to do that is revise search. click there, it'll bring you back here to your advanced search. It doesn't forget how you built your search. View your results again. It brings you back to page 1. All those check marks are cleared out. Then you just have to type in the number 5 because that's where you're going to start and enter, and you're ready to go with more downloads. So you can get pretty darn quick at being able to do that. So if you wanted this entire group of 640, you could get there in a matter of 7 downloads. So know that that's always available to you. I'm going to revise my search because I want to get rid of those check marks I've applied, and I want to show you another option here. And I happened to see this, I think it was on page 2. So I'll go to page 2. Exactly. So there's an Arby's here. And what I wanted to show you is not only do we have information about this Arby's location here at this 1701 US Highway 22, but we also have, as you'll note, that corporate tree. So if you needed or wanted to see that corporate structure, we give you a couple opportunities. This up arrow will take you to one record and one record only, and that would be the subsidiary that's responsible for all of the Arby's. If you just need that kind of insight, you can get to that real quick. If you want to see their entire corporate structure because you intend on perhaps utilizing that, you can open that up. Arby's is actually owned by this Work Capital Group out of Atlanta, Georgia. They're a private equity company, a quite a healthy private equity company, I might add. There's a legend that runs across the top here. So if you needed to identify what this PV stands for, you can quickly identify that that's a private company. And if you want to see these other, there's one subsidiary. So if you want to see the other 42, you can close or collapse this, and there they are. And I'm sure as you look at that list, you see a lot of companies that you recognize, maybe from your own community. They just added this little company, this little donut place here last year about this time. And I learned about that by going into one of these Arby's records. I'll show you that in a second. So you always have access to all of this structure. You know, if I were selling or wanting to sell a product to Arby's, wouldn't I maybe also want to sell that same product to Hardee's or to Jimmy John's or to Sonic? You can get to all that information. If you wanted to look under this Sonic and see any of those branches, you could also do that. And there they are. So you have access to all of this, and it's so easy to get to. So know that that's available. I can always get back to my original listing of all those records. Let's open this Arby's record. This is an atypical example of what a business record would look like. It's always going to give you this location information first. Notice we have their website, social links. Then I have any job listings. I also have that corporate tree embedded inside the record. So if I wanted to see that information from this standpoint, I could get there as well. Then I have that industry profile. There's that SIC code that drove in all those restaurants. Then I have a business profile. Now we won't have a business profile on every single business. You know, Bill's Garage down the street that works on lawnmowers, probably not going to have a business profile on that. I also have Google Maps embedded in here because we have that latitude and longitude embedded in the background. So that's always available. I have these business demographics. So we just updated that record within the last 7 days. And when we contacted them, they told us they had 18 employees. Remember, that number goes into that algorithm that we're putting together to model this sales volume. It'll always tell you that that's a private company, access to that private company's parent. If you needed that, you could just click on that and it'll take you right to that record in Atlanta. This one's been in our database for 21 years. I mentioned how you could do that years in the database. And if that high water mark were 12 years or higher, I hope everyone is still with me. Something just flashed. That in fact, you could get to that kind of insight. I have that management directory, company news. So we get this information from Bing and we load that on the fly. So as you can see, there was one that just came in from this Valley Breeze source that Bing has at 5 a.m. this morning. Then 2 days ago, there were, three different listings. So that's where I learned, I happened to notice on one of these listings that there was this pending acquisition of Dunkin' Donuts through Rourke Capital Group. You can get to older articles if you need to, even by selecting Read More. We'll never put stock data on a branch. It would only be on that parent. Then we have business expenditures, followed by some historical information, including historical records. And notice this goes back to 03. Or does it? Well, let's find out. I'm going to open up this year 2010 by clicking on Arby's name. There's my 2010 record. Notice this does go back to 2001. We stop our listings here at 3 for everybody, but there may be additional years that you might find once you've opened up that particular record. So I'm now in the U.S. Historical Businesses records, and I have this slide that is active. So if I wanted to go forward in time, I could certainly do that. Or if I wanted to go back in time, I could certainly do that. So know that that's available to you. I can always get back to my original record by selecting back, and there it is. And I have 3 other sections, and this is how every one of these records would be set up. Now, if we were looking at church information, there wouldn't be a listing of competitors for churches, right? We're not going to say that St. John's is in competition with Billy Bob's. So we're not going to have that. But if it's a for-profit, we'll always have a listing of competitors in that area. Sometimes the areas are pretty slim with competitors, so there may not be any. UCC filing. So if this business took out a loan and put something up as collateral, that would be captured there. Then we have the nearby businesses because we have that latitude and longitude embedded in the background. And then, of course, a listing of other competitors, other restaurants. And if you wanted to, maybe you wanted to get into this Chipotle, you could certainly do that. And just click on that business record and bingo, you're in there. So you can always move around within a record to look at other records if you need to. I can always go back, and then I can always get back to the top of my record. And if when you come into a record, maybe you just need to get to the management directory. Maybe that's where you want to go. Simply come down this quick links to management, and it'll take you right there. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions regarding what I've shown to this point? I do want to be able to show you a couple more tools that are available here.
Yeah, hi, Bill, this is Jane. One of the big questions is people want to be reminded how to get access to the database.
Absolutely. I'll actually do that at the very conclusion. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds great.
Anything else there, Jane?
Someone asked if your library doesn't participate in with reference solutions.
Right.
How do you get access?
So we know that all libraries in New Jersey have access. So that's not a problem if you're in New Jersey. If you're outside of New Jersey, you could always check with your local library. If they don't have that, contact us And the account manager that manages that territory would be able to tell you about libraries that might be near you that do have access. And then you could reach out to them to see if they would provide you with out of area access. Sometimes those libraries may charge a nominal fee. In other cases, it may be completely free as well. You just need to get the library card.
And there was a question here, if we want to understand the industry instead of specific businesses, how do I do that?
So if I wanted to understand the restaurant industry in my community, since we have restaurants already drawn there, I could go in and I could use this summary option. So let's go back to page 1. I'll just take my check mark out of there. And we know that we have our information as it relates to sales volume and charts, sales volume and employment size. I can also select my summary option, and I could do, now I know I'm only looking at SIC codes for restaurants, so I could drive that in, but maybe I want that sales volume against the 5-digit zip codes that they're in. I could then view that, and I've got that SIC code for restaurants that are making less than 500,000 and how many records apply to all of that. So you could put together some percentages if you wanted to regarding that kind of information and understand that industry in whatever area you might be looking at.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead, Jane.
Okay, that's all. I think that answered the question. If not, please ask another one and we'll answer it. This is excellent information. I know SCORE mentors use this a lot and we work with our clients. So if you want to work with the SCORE mentor and they can help you with reference solutions, you can work with a librarian. A lot of the libraries in our areas have business librarians. They're particularly adept at working with reference solutions as well. So there's a lot of options to help with competitive research or whatever you might be doing. Are there any other questions? Is there something we missed here?
I would like to show one more tool, and that's the heat map. So let's go ahead. I'll deselect the county. I'll open the heat map, but I'm going to add in a couple of other filters. I'll say number of employees, and I'll grab this 1 to 4 and this 5 to 9, or this 10 to 19. I'll say only restaurants with web addresses. And then I'm going to open my map. Jane, would you mind sharing your zip code? I could put in a city, I could put in an address here and then the city, state. I could put in county, state. I could put in zip code. Jane, what's a zip code somewhere in your area there?
08873.
73. Okay. I'm going to say go. And my system takes me right to that zip code centroid. So the center of that zip code. I have the ability to draw my own shape, to use a radius, and both of these options will go out 150 miles. We also have some predetermined boundaries that you could select from. You could even create a drive route. With drawing a shape, and I'm gonna cheat here. I'm gonna back up just a little bit so I can see a little bit more of the area. That's better. I'm gonna draw my own shape. All you do is you get to start wherever you want to. If you wanted to go right here in the middle of this preserve, you could start there. Not going to find many businesses in there, but you might find a few hungry chipmunks, right? So you can start wherever you want to begin. If you wanted to begin there, it's a single click to begin it. And then which direction do you want to go? Do you want to go north, south, east, west? Where do you want to go? I'll go all the way over here to North Brunswick, come right up here this way, and we'll go up here. I'll double click to finish it. Sometimes I'm a little quicker than I need be. I've got 53 results that match my criteria that are in that shape. If that's all I need, I can say done. And then as you can see, I'm ready to give you those 53 results. You would just click on view results then. So you can do that. You can use a true radius. Maybe this is where I need to begin. And I need to correct my radius. So I'm going to delete that again, select radius again. It's not quite on center. So now it is. As you can see, I've clicked on it, I've held it, and now I'm just dragging it away. So I'm already up to a little over 5 miles. If that were the area I was interested in, I've got 136 results. I could even do this. I shouldn't have mentioned donuts earlier, but we're going to create a donut hole. I could tell the system of this 136, I don't want these 14 that are in here. And I helped a gentleman do this just the other day. He was looking to expand his delivery area from 3 miles to 5 miles. So this outer ring that we first did represented the 5 miles, and this inner ring represents those 3 miles. This is that 3 to 5 miles. He wanted just this information, and we were looking at consumer data on that one, but you get the idea. So then he could get to just those new consumers in that area that he was going to market to.
What about the drive route?
Oh, that, I helped a gentleman in Wisconsin use this. And I'll just do this real quick. So you could be putting in a physical address as it notes here. You could be putting in just the city state, which is what we did in his case. He wanted to travel between 2 cities and find certain manufacturers that manufacture skid pallets because he wanted to buy their extras. So he gave me 2 cities. I'll just use my city for this example. So we'll go Omaha, Nebraska, and I'll go to Lincoln, which is like 55 miles away. And the buffer distance, he wanted to do 3 miles on either side of the roadway. So a total of 6, right? That maximum where it says 15, that's only one side of the roadway. It will do both sides. So it's technically 30. I'll say 0.2. So 2 blocks either side of the roadway. I have a total of 33 results that match my criteria between Omaha and Lincoln. And then I can simply say done, done, thank you, and view my results. There's my 33.
That's very cool.
That's exactly what he wanted, and he wanted to put them in ascending order so he could just go from one to the next. So you can do that as well.
Wow.
So it just depends on what you might need to be able to access.
It's really a powerful tool. It's fantastic.
Amazing what you can do. So let's do this. I know we're at the top of the hour. Doggone it, time just goes by so fast. I want to show you how you can get to the database, at least through, and this is through Jersey Clicks. The thing about the libraries is most of them will put us under, could be a few different headings. Could be electronic resources. It could be under business information. It could be under available databases. There's no rhyme or reason necessarily to how they might do it at different libraries. But if you go through Jersey Clicks, let me just open a new tab and I'll go with Jersey. As you can see, I've done this a few times. It's coming up, jerseyclicks.org, and enter. And it brings you to this page. Then, since I'm on this alphabetical listing, I could do it by subject, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to scroll down to the R's, right? So once I get down here, there's Reference Solutions. We used to be known as Reference USA. Then you just click on that link. Now, in my case, it's taking me right into the database because it's remembering that I just put my library card number in. For you, it would take you to a page that would require you to enter your library card number, and then you'd be here. And you know that you're there when you see that New Jersey State Library logo.
And someone is asking about, they have to use the library's computers. This is an online system. So
Nope, you can do it
use from
anywhere.
your home.
Right. If there's still time to get to Jersey Shore to enjoy some nice weather, you could do it from the shoreline.
And
Absolutely.
if there, I think you already answered this, but just I want to clarify.
You bet.
If your library doesn't subscribe to this program, then
Correct.
you could go to another library and
Yes.
register for it probably. Is that up to the individual libraries, how they're using this?
Exactly. So some libraries may not offer all of these modules. They could be a little different, right? It's all about the contract that was written. In any case, some of those libraries may charge for an out of area card,
Okay.
and others may just say, yeah, you're a Pennsylvania resident, just come in and present us your driver's license and we'll get you a card on the spot. Some libraries, especially since the pandemic has begun, have been doing a lot of that online. So you haven't even had to physically go to the library in order to do that.
Someone says, when I click sign up, it doesn't ask for a library card. Is she in the wrong spot?
She must be. Yes. And I don't know what sign up she's asking about. Is it sign up through the library, or is she seeing some kind of sign up through us?
I don't know. Can we find email addresses of the owners of the businesses?
Great question. So we do have email addresses and we sell those. You can imagine that if we had access to email addresses, whether it's businesses or consumers, that were just available for anyone to grab off the database, those email addresses would sour overnight like a carton of milk, right? So we do sell those. You would contact us at our email address, which, let me do this real quick. I'll just grab all the businesses in good old Omaha, of which there are 30,000. So notice it says there are 30,000 plus businesses in Omaha, and there are 1,903 email addresses. Then it says more information. It will tell you to contact us at our email address in regards to acquiring those. Now, I can tell you that our coverage is actually much greater than this 1,900. Here's where this gets a bit confusing. So Data Axle, my parent company, owns this 1,903, but we also have another company that we work with that can get us more email addresses. So with that said, we'll have typically on average about 65% coverage for any type of business email addresses you'd want.
And again, the URL where we can sign up with our library cards. Is that?
Yes, you have to do it through the library, just like I did it through Jersey Clicks. You go through the library's website, you find our link, which in Jersey Clicks is under the R's here. So this is exactly the way you do it at the library as well, in terms of finding our link. Now, they may have us under a different heading, right? It's nice that the state has this alphabetical listing first. Easy, quick way to get down to the letter R. But you would always have to find our link embedded in your library somewhere. Again, it could be under available databases. It could be under e-resources. It could be under business information. Wherever that might be, you would click on that link, enter your library card number, and you'd be in, just like I am here. And there's my logo.
Right. And sometimes you do have to dig around a little bit to find.
You do have to dig around a little bit. Exactly.
I know you said that before. It
Yep.
depends on where they put it. Right.
I
And,
wish I
someone's-
had the ability to control how libraries place us, but we don't have that kind of influence.
Someone is mentioning that, you know, if you download all those email addresses, they are not opt-in because they could be considered spam. So you have to watch your marketing on that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just
Absolutely.
because you have them, then you have to know how to use them.
Exactly. So there are two ways that you can use our email addresses. One is you could purchase them and walk away and do your own email campaigning, which you have to be very aware of the spam cam compliancy that occurs with all that. Or you can hire us to do it all for you. We would do we would do the HTML, we would do the language, of course, consulting with you. If you had certain images you want included, we could certainly get that image from you or those images from you and then be able to do that. I always, when I'm out on the road, which I'm going to be in New Jersey here in November, I always bring this example with me, and I hope you all can see it. It's very good card stock. And this was a customer that I did a mailing for. So we also do mailings. He builds these beautiful outdoor kitchens. So he wanted to be able to identify consumers that had a certain home income because he wasn't going to market his business to people who couldn't afford his $40,000 for these beautiful outdoor kitchens. I'd have to be outdoors a whole lot of time to spend that kind of money, but nonetheless, he wanted to do this mailing. So we were able to do that for him. He presented these images to us, and then we did the mailing on his behalf.
That's good to know. I didn't realize you would do that, but that's great information.
So
and then I think we're going to have to go. We're way over our time because this is so engaging and it's such a robust tool. But I thank you for, I have one quick question. Where's the button to open the heat map?
Oh, to open the heat map. So I'll again just
do that quickly and then we're going to have to sign off.
In Nebraska, view my results. So the heat map is always located right up here.
When you get to the search,
map is there. What's that?
When you've identified your search.
Yes. Now I'm looking at all businesses. So when I deploy the heat map, and by the way, the maximum number of records that you can deploy on the heat map is 50,000. When I do that, look at my community looks like just one big blob, right? Of all those businesses. Because I'm not looking, no surprise that there are a lot of businesses in downtown Omaha.
Right. Okay. That is great. Now, another two more things. Number one, can you share your slides with us?
Oh, these aren't slides. I actually went into
the
database, and this is real. This is live information that's been updated as recently. You saw that one record that was just updated in November or in October.
Right. I'm sorry about that. I knew that. Yes, this is live. So no slides to share, but go to your library and work through your library to get access to it, or
Absolutely.
contact Reference Solutions to get help. And maybe you would put your contact information on the screen for us.
You bet. So our contact information is even down here at the very bottom. Our 800 number, as well as the group's email address, because we all work these emails when they come in based on where they're coming in from, what library, because it'll show what library they're coming in from.
So if you're having problems getting access or whatever,
right, feel free to reach out.
We can contact the 800 number or the email.
Right,
and someone
and we'll help you.
Can help us. That is great. That is great.
Absolutely. Your success is our success. Just please understand that.
Great. Again, thank you so much. This has been an excellent presentation. We thank you for your time. I suggest that everybody use the information in here for your marketing, for your competitive research, whatever you need. The information is there. Thanks, Bill, and we hope to
Thank
have you
you.
back again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jane. I'll
Thanks,
look for your
everybody,
email if you would.
I'm sorry.
I'll look for your email if you would with just
Yes,
that
I will do
number
that.
for me.
And I want to
Perfect.
thank everybody for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.